All right, previously on the Roaming Holiday podcast, I'm in Fukuoka, Japan, and I'm in the Dazaifu neighborhood. So I went to the Remains of Dazaifu Government Office, which, as with most remains, sort of not a lot necessarily there. So it's just, it's a park, kind of just a big flat open park. And then behind it is the Dazaifu Citizens Forest, which is an okay little extra part to the park. You kind of walk through the park, it's not bad. But the main event is, as you head north, there's a path up to the Ono Castle Ruins. Iwaya Castle Ruins. And it's also just kind of a flat area with nothing really remaining, except an insane view of the whole area. Just one of the craziest views ever, and very accessible, very easy to get to. And you can just see, like, there you go. There's most of Fukuoka. Soak it in. But I didn't actually know that was there. I was just exploring at random, and it was a happy thing to find. And it was really late in the day. By the time I got up there, it was like 4:30. It was going to be dark soon, because as I record this, it's December. So it was pretty sweet on its own, but I couldn't help noticing that there is a mountain road that keeps going through the mountain to something, probably just more castle ruins, but it seems to have a parking spot and stuff, so maybe it's more significant. I mean, I think the view, you can't top the view. Nothing's going to top the view. But I just wanted to keep exploring for the sake of exploring. It looks like Ono Castle, O-N-O Castle, is deeper into the mountain. And then I noticed that if you just keep going, you eventually come down the other side of the mountain into more just properly, fully developed Fukuoka. There's a Umi station in the neighborhood of Umi, not surprisingly, on the JR line. So worst case scenario, if I can get all the way across the mountain, I mean, it still doesn't seem like I'm super far away if I did just want to walk back. But I'm not sure what the mountain situation is. I'm not sure if I can circle around the mountain or if I'd have to climb another mountain. So worst case scenario, I got Umi Station as an escape plan. And it's much earlier in the day this time. Unfortunately, I didn't really go to bed earlier. That would be optimal. But that's really hard for me to do. But it's only about 10:30 now, and I'm entering the park, although I just hit a dead end. I already went the wrong way once. But yeah, yesterday I did a lot of meandering around because I didn't really know where I was trying to get to or what the highlights of this area were. So today I'm going to head straight up the mountain. So yeah, the basics are, it's the Nishitetsu line. I finally figured out the name of the train. And it originates in Tenjin, so it's really easy to get to. And you go to Tofuro Mae Station, Tofuro-Mae Station. And across from the remains of the government offices park, this may seem like a silly thing to bring up, but there's this convenience store called Best Convenience System that I don't know if it's a chain. If it is a chain, it's really small. It's got its own logo and stuff. I think it aspires to be a chain, but the only one I've seen is across from the Dazaifu government offices remains park, whatever the heck it's called. And I spent even more money there this time because it's so great. Like, they have their own onigiri, like they do the old school style onigiri that's kind of folded over like a little pocket. And they have a bunch of homemade bakery stuff. There was somebody, since I was there earlier today, there was someone actively bringing out bakery stuff instead of just, yesterday I had it was still delicious, but I had has been there for the early afternoon bakery. Now it's like the super new bakery stuff. Just great. And I don't know, this may be my last exploration in this neighborhood for this trip, so I might not be back. So yesterday I spent $12, today I spent $13. I got tons of stuff that I'm just gonna eat as I go, because I just want to really make sure I got enough time for this adventure. It seems like I've got plenty. It should be all good, but I mean, hey, why risk it? Let's go, go. So yeah, see last episode for additional details, but I'm gonna cram some of this delicious food in my face. Oh yeah, and I got one more kind of the, I don't remember the name of this, but I read somewhere that this is how they used to make onigiri in the 70s, that it's more like a pocket folded over. I got another mystery one that does not have an English label. So let me report on that. Let's see what this is. Wow, it's weird too. On the back it says 130 yen, but this was marked down to 80. And they did have only a few left. Maybe this is because there's a new fresh batch coming in or something? 80 yen, what the heck? Crazy cheap. But yeah, it's interesting just because Best Convenience System is a new chain I've never heard of before. Or indeed maybe a mom and pop one-off, I don't know. But yeah, that it has its own bakery stuff and its own handmade whatevers. I would pay extra. I feel like that's kind of the North American philosophy. But yeah, in Japan, it's the opposite. It's like we're trying to bring you back to the olden days. We give you nice, cheap prices. Got to fight against those big chains. Whatever the reason, it's fucking pretty cool. Man, I can feel my lack of sleep a little. It's really tough to get this package open, and I can feel that little twinge of annoyance is hitting me so much faster than it would if I had slept in a little more. But it's worth it. Once I get hiking up the mountain and stuff, it'll be fine. It's that sort of the dual thing of like waking up a little early is like, oh, that's a little rough. But it also kind of feels good. And I mean, quote unquote early, 10:30 is not exactly early. But it was the best I could do, damn it. And yeah, it's kind of a good feeling to just get up because you have a mission, you have a plan, you got something you want to do before the sun goes down. But not too early, because I've done the rush hour trains in Japan only once or twice. I had to go to the passport office in 2019 because I lost my passport. So I had no choice but to ride the crazy crowded trains through Shibuya. I think the Canadian passport office embassy, I think, is in Asakusa. Anyway, that fucking was insane, dude. That was fucking nuts. In fact, I can tell you that story, but let me just fucking get this thing open. Oh, this one's salmon. Oh, that's so good. If it is a bit older, I certainly can't tell. But I have to assume that's what was going on. They must have a new batch of these about to come out. They're definitely handmade in the store. It must be like maybe after they finish the bakery, then they move on to the onigiri. But yeah, fucking 80 yen, are you kidding? God, that's delicious. But yeah, with the passport office, I don't remember what time they closed, but it was weirdly early. And everything always takes way more time than you expect, so I just wanted to make sure I got to the office as early as possible. There was a lot of hoops, a lot of bureaucracy with getting a replacement passport. Try not to lose your passport. That was fucking, it was a not entirely pleasant adventure. So I left from Naka Itabashi Station, which was the first neighborhood I ever stayed in Japan, so it's my precious little home station, and it's always so dead there, you know? It's just a weird little station, 4 or 5 stops from Ikebukuro, not exactly popular. So for the first time ever, that station was just packed full of people, and it's like, oh geez, so this is what it's like, in manga and stuff, or in Japanese movies about the rush hour trains and everything packed in. I hadn't actually experienced that to that degree yet, where it literally is like you're just packed in like sardines. And it's kind of amazing how packed in you can get. You can just be squeezed in, where like if you lifted your legs, you might not fall down. That's one of those cases too when being taller is kind of good. It was nice to at least have my head above the sea of people. If you're short, that must be a weird experience to just be packed in like that. And that was only Naka Itabashi. So yeah, it only got worse and worse. And as I got to Shibuya, it was so fucking busy that the lineup to get into the train went down the hallway, around the corner, and through the turnstile. Like there were people lined up in the turnstile, like just stuck in it. I'd never seen anything like that. It was fucking crazy. So what I did at Shibuya, that's where it's like, okay, this is like, I'm basically there. I'm close enough. Now I can chill out a little and just let this craziness pass a bit. So I walked along a hallway of whatever, I guess I was just in the station, but I was on the second floor. That whole place is very confusing. Shibuya Station is pretty crazy. And I could look down out the window and see that famous Shibuya crossing and see all the people. And it's like, whoa. So basically what I did is I went to the washroom, and it was a washroom with a bunch of stalls, like 3 or 4 stalls. And they weren't even being used. Nobody had time to go to the washroom. They were all lined up to get on the train to get to work. But I felt better that there were that many stalls so that I wasn't getting in anyone's way, because I didn't know where else to go. There was nowhere to sit. There was nowhere to wait. Everything was just crazy everywhere. So I went to the farthest stall at the very end, and I just went in and sat on it like it was a chair. I just put down the toilet lid and sat on it. And I just read some comics on my phone for a while. Like, I was in there for probably like 20 minutes. And I would never do that if the toilet was busy. That would be such awful, inconsiderate behavior. But yeah, I hardly heard anyone else come in. There were other stalls. I wasn't really getting in anyone's way. It was just so I could get away from stuff. And yeah, I was in there like 20 minutes. And then by the time I came back out, ventured out to look around, it was still busy, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't people past the turnstiles fucking crazy. And then I went to Asakusa and dealt with the passport office. I might tell the passport story at some point, but I don't know that there's really much to tell. It was just kind of boring paperwork and a pain in the butt. So yeah, again, I don't know. My big advice there is don't lose your passport. Although I've got this little sling, like, one of those, like a little fanny pack thing that you just put under your shirt, but I'm wearing it like a quiver, like around my shoulder. And it's got my passport and a spare bank card in it. And, I got a routine just because I will forget. I'll forget to put it on. So every night I take off my t-shirt, take this thing off, and put it in the pocket of my jeans. So then the next day when I go to put on my jeans, I realize there's this passport in my pocket, and I sling it back around my shoulder. And I really do need to set up that routine for myself. It has to be in front of me every day, or I will forget. Because anytime I don't do that, I put on a t-shirt, I put on my pants, then I see the passport thing laying on the kitchen table or whatever, and I got to take my t-shirt off and put the thing back on. So again, if it hadn't been somewhere where I would see it, I would have walked right out the door without it. And just that's how you lose your passport, Anytime that your passport isn't exactly where you know it's supposed to be is bad times. So it's good to have a little routine, but I was thinking if, just since it's under my shirt, if the elastic on it that is slung around my shoulder ever did break, I bet this thing would just kind of slip off and fall out of my shirt and probably fall on the ground somewhere, and I wouldn't realize. But I just got to assume that's not going to happen. I mean, I don't know how else I can make my passport more secure than this. It's the physical world, man. You just never know what's gonna happen. Something can always go wrong. But this is a lot better than my old plan, which was just to, have my passport around. Oh, it's either in this pocket, or it's in this pouch of this bag, or it's in my inner fucking pocket of my hoodie or whatever. And I think that's actually how I lost it. I think it was in the inner pocket of a hoodie that I just had slung over my shoulder, and it fell out. No more of that. Because, yeah, you can't even, I thought at least I could just escape Japan, maybe. Just go back to Canada and sort things out from there. But even getting, out of a country, even if you're going back to your birth country, it's still, you need a passport. You just need a passport. Pain in the butt. Okay, but again, this is what I did yesterday. I just started meandering and wasted the whole day doing nothing. This was an okay meander. This is fine because I gotta cram some of this food in my face, but gotta get to that mountain, gotta get going. Because yeah, those first castle ruins, they're really not far. It's really not far from here. If I get fucking huffing, I'll be there in like half an hour. I just gotta go, just gotta get going. So all right, let's tune in again from where yesterday's episode ended. That's where we'll start. That's where the next step of the journey will be. And I did find a steeper path down the mountain yesterday that had ropes and stuff set up. And I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to take that steeper route. But there's steps. Nice, easy steps to take you up. There's no need for these shenanigans. I'm just gonna do them to try something different today. All right, I'm off. All right, I'm up at the plateau of Iwaya Castle Ruins. So I think this spot I'm at definitely is the castle ruins as it's marked on Google Maps. So the thing slightly down the hill from here that does look like an actual remains of something. I don't know, maybe this was the space where the castle was? I guess that would make sense because the view is insane from up here. Still not a ton of room, and there's no visible remains of anything. So maybe what was down there was like a defensive, what are, I don't know, castle terms, the keep or something, the antechamber. Like as people came up the mountain, that was like the guard post perhaps. But that should make it easier to find. Also, if you're trying to find this place, it's really interesting because as you hike from the ground, again, it's not that hard of a hike. So it was like 10:30 when I was eating my onigiri. And it's a little after noon now, so it actually does take a little longer than I thought it did to get up here. But that's certainly not bad. And that was from basically the entrance of the Citizens Forest Park or whatever. So 90 minutes to get up here, not bad. But then as I got to the top, to the remains of the keep or whatever, there's just a lady walking her dog. She clearly came down from the road because there is a mountain road that goes right up past here. So she's just like, hello, good morning, good afternoon, whatever. So casual, just casual, walking her tiny dog. So yeah, this thing's interesting because it feels like a pretty cool hike from the ground. But yeah, with the road access, like from the road, this spot I'm at is, it's less than 1 minute. It's like a 45-second walk. So it's simultaneously like kind of a cool far hike from the subway station. And at the same time, if you have access through the road, it's a piece of piss. It's so easy to get up here. And I thought like, oh, all right, here we go. Beautiful sunny day. This is gonna be the shit. But the view was actually better last night at twilight. Not only did the twilight coming across the mountains look awesome, it was actually easier to see the city. Today it's very sunny and kind of hazy. And I don't think this is necessarily normal for Fukuoka. I feel like the other days that I've seen big crazy views weren't hazy like this. So, the weather was bad this morning. It was actually really cold. And now it's all hot again. The weirdness of Fukuoka in December. So, I don't think this is a common weather pattern, but it does just look like I went into Photoshop and just messed with the contrast and just made everything washed out. It's not as good of a view. Still a fucking good view though. But yeah, it turns out I thought yesterday it was maybe a mistake to get here just as the sun was going down, but actually maybe that was the shit. Maybe that's what you want to do. Get up here around 4 o'clock in the winter, an hour and a half before sundown. Soak that in, and then it certainly didn't take 90 minutes to get down. That's a half hour at most, so 40 minutes, whatever. Or the road. The road's right here. So yeah, an easy place to escape from, even if you come here in the eve. But yeah, on the way up, I took the steeper path that I found on the way down. It's actually even a little hard to describe. I don't know that I would recommend it for the first time you're here because the main way up is so easy to find. It's marked on all the park maps in the park. There's walking sticks at the bottom. It's just nice stairs all the way up. It's so easy and so well marked and easy to find. Where even knowing where this other path was, it was a little tough to find. So I feel like it's kind of a second time here type of deal. But it was actually really kind of neat and fun. So if you did want to try to find it, as you get to the Dazaifu Citizens Forest Park, it's got like a loop. You can go to the right or to the left. So I went to the right, around the right loop, and then there's washrooms, and just beyond the washrooms on the right is just a teeny little white bridge across a teeny little creek. But from there, yeah, like if you didn't know that that's where you're supposed to go, it just looks like there's nothing. It just looks like there's forest. And if you peer through the trees, then you can see the start of the rope. There's like a rope guideline that goes pretty much the whole way up, or at least at all the steep parts. So yeah, even knowing it was there at first, I was like this is definitely it. I just came here yesterday. I know this is it, but I couldn't find it for a second. It was a little tricky. But then going up, it was actually kind of fun because it's so different from just trudging upstairs. If you do take this route, bring gloves no matter what the time of year, because you're going to need them, because the first half is a pretty normal path, and then it gets super steep, but there's ropes the whole way, tied to trees or tied to metal poles. Like, it's all very secure. But it's one of these things where as you go up, you got to have a hand on the rope at all times, because there's some parts that didn't seem as bad when I was coming down yesterday, but going up and looking back behind me, it's like, geez, if I were to fall right here, it is just tumbling down a hill. Unless you're really unlucky and break your neck, you're not going to die, but you're definitely going to break something. You're not going to come out of that without a broken wrist or something. So yeah, not hard, but not easy. But kind of kind of fun. And as I went up, I found the little shrine that yesterday I was saying how they have these little plastic containers that have all the candles and incense for these shrines. And one of them got knocked over up that route. So I kind of cleaned it up and put the stuff back in and put a big rock on top that I'd seen someone else do at a different one to keep it closed. So someone else had fixed it up even more today. And it's kind of neat where you're just like learning from others. Where what this guy did, I never would have thought to do this. It sort of seems counterintuitive to me a bit, but it actually does make sense. Is there's like a little stone circle, like a tiny little fire pit that has incense powder in it, incense dust, which even that stuff's weird because it's essentially just soot, but it smells good. Got some on my fingers yesterday and it's like, ugh, gotta wash my hands, but smells kind of good. Fragrant ashes. So what the guy did is he took the container and he put it inside the little circle pit and then the rock on top. So the reason I wouldn't have thought to do that is because you're putting the container in the dust, in the ashes. But once it's in there, it's really secure. It's surrounded by rocks now. And so what if you get dust? So what if you get burned up incense on the plastic container? The plastic container doesn't care. But that would have been my thought, is like, oh, you don't want to get the plastic container dirty. But why the fuck not? Who cares? So it's like, oh, cool, okay. I learned an additional technique from whoever else was there since I passed. Hand in hand, together. We're putting right what once went wrong. And another thing that was kind of interesting is on the way up the really steep route, there was a side path that I didn't see on the way down that had a big white sign with the arrow pointing, hey, you could go this way, and had its own ropes. But it wasn't going up. It was clearly the wrong way. But I'm like, well, what the heck is this? It's got a dang arrow pointing. It's got to be something. And it was an especially dicey little maneuver to go around a very steep part of the side of the mountain. Not for very far, maybe 20 meters or something, 15. But I didn't like it. It was a little frightening. And then when I got to the end, there didn't seem to be anything there. There was, it kind of looked like an empty birdhouse sort of thing, or kind of like a lending library in North America where you just leave books for your neighborhood, leave a book, take a book, like a small little thing like that, but nothing was in it. And I was like, what is this? Like a little shrine that's not maintained? Like there's nothing in it. And it made me wish that I had something to leave there. It would be such a good place to make a geocache. Fucking perfect. The perfect geocache location. But I was looking through all my stuff and it's like, oh man, like I wish I had my little Nadishko from Eurocamp toy or something, because I would just hang it in there just so there'd be something to find, when you came over there. It would be neat. But I'm too utilitarian. I didn't have anything unnecessary. The closest I could think of is I've got spare Band-Aids in my wallet. And I was like, hey, what if somebody has a blister? I could leave Band-Aids in there. Maybe they'll be like, cool, I needed Band-Aids, perfect timing. But if I put Band-Aids in there, before anyone else ever finds them, there's just going to be a windy day and they'll get blown away and become garbage. There's just nothing. There's nothing I could do with it. But a geocache would be so good. But then I did notice there is something actually there. There's they look like castles, but they look sort of like sand castles. And there was 3 of them hewn into the rock. They're pretty large too, but I just didn't notice them at first. And I don't know what they are, and I don't know what the significance is. But I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So there is something here. There's like a cool, like, rock sculpture. Like a rock painting here. What a weird discovery. Just hanging out in Japan and just going places. It feels like in the old Uncharted games where, let's just ramble about video games for a moment. I always kind of liked in Uncharted, the collectibles are just random bits of treasure, because he's a treasure hunter. He's Indiana Jones. He's Lara Croft. Nathan Drake. He's just the new guy in the lineage of swashbuckling archaeologists. So if you're going to have collectibles in a game, it made sense that they're little actual ancient artifacts. And that's what this felt like. This felt exactly like I found an Uncharted collectible. Like, wow, cool, And again, who cares about getting the collectibles, but they're their own reward just to go, to go off the path a little and find a weird thing. And it's like, cool, I got that. Whereas in The Last of Us, they did this similar thing, but it was like Firefly dog tags. I wrote a whole book about The Last of Us, and I didn't even bother getting all the Firefly dog tags, because who the fuck cares? That's very much apropos of nothing, but I do have one little quick thing I'm going to harangue about briefly, because it is appropriate to a person walking around a lot or hiking. Ankle socks, dude. What the fuck is with ankle socks? Why do these things exist? I do not understand what they're for. They're for someone who has a lifestyle that is not like mine, that's for sure, because I don't understand why you would ever want to wear socks that don't cover up your ankle, go higher up your leg. I was thinking maybe if you live in an extremely hot environment, maybe if you live in Florida or something, so you just need some socks so you don't get blisters from your shoes, but you just want as little skin covered as possible. Maybe that's all I can come up with. Because I fucking hate these things, and I got these by accident. Because I bought a pair of socks from Family Mart that were like Stranger Things branded, unexpectedly. I didn't even realize that from the packaging, but they're really high quality socks. I mean, they weren't cheap. Buying socks from the convenience store is not the best plan. It was like $4 or something for one pair of socks. It was a bad deal. But they're very good socks, so that's good. But then in my laundry routine, I needed one more pair of socks. And there's like a little diagram on the socks to tell you what kind of socks they are. And I don't know how I fucked up, because I could have swore I was checking to make sure I didn't buy the cursed ankle socks. But somehow I accidentally did. I think it was just like when you do a little sleight of hand on yourself. Like if you're ever at the grocery store and there's like a half-price sandwich, but you grab the one next to it that wasn't half price and you don't realize till you pay full price for a sandwich. You're like, whoops, how did I do that? I somehow picked up the wrong pair of socks. And yeah, as soon as I opened the package and saw that they were these dumbass little fucking teeny annoying socks, I audibly groaned. I was like, ah! Because I have so few things. I've only got what fits in the book bag. I was trying to hit my perfect sock balance of like I was just slightly too low. I kept running out of socks just before laundry time. With these 2 pairs of socks, equilibrium has been hit. Everything's been fine since then. But as soon as I opened these socks, I was just thinking like I should just go throw these away. I should put these right in the trash. They're just wasting my sock space. I can't believe I bought these dumb socks. What am I supposed to do with these? So what I did do with them is I've just been wearing them kind of around the apartment. If I just need some socks for the Airbnb I'm in, okay, I'll put these socks on. But today, I don't know, I happen to have them on and I'm like, all right, let's just try them. Let's try these dumb socks. And I'm immediately reminded of like tennis socks. Like, have you seen those socks tennis players wear? Which again, I assume they want them to be low because they are sweating, so they don't want to cover up more skin and sweat more. But they have these little pom-poms at the back to keep the socks up, because otherwise the socks fall down. And these fucking socks need some pom-poms. Because only on one foot, for whatever reason, just the way my cadence of walking is, on my right foot, this sock just keeps sliding down and keeps sliding down and like sliding down past my heel till it's like half off. It's like having to yank it up. It's like, God, you're so fucking annoying. I hate these fucking socks. So much so that if I pass a convenience store later I mean, I guess by the time I get down the mountain, it won't matter. But if there's somehow a convenience store on this mountain, I'm buying a new pair of socks immediately. They just suck. So don't, if you're hiking around mountains and shit, don't bring fucking ankle socks. Don't buy them by accident. I know, again, this is advice nobody needs, but somebody must like these socks. There must be a reason why they're available worldwide, and I do not get it. I fucking hate these goddamn ankle socks. They are shit. They're the shit of socks. Okay, anyway, that's enough. I don't need to complain while I'm up here at this beautiful view. Turns out actually this sign, the sign that shows the entire panorama, just shows what you're looking at. You know, I was peering at it in the dimness yesterday and trying to translate stuff with my phone. I didn't realize there is actually English, some English way at the bottom. So we got Mount Homan. Long ago, Mount Homan was worshipped as a sacred peak. Sure, why not? Dazaifu Tenmangu Shrine. Tenmangu Shrine is the site at which the scholar Michizane Sugawara, also known as the god of learning, is deified. Alright? Kenzionji Temple was built in memory of the late Empress Samei by Emperor Tenji. It was completed in 746 AD. Site of Daizafu Government Office, that's where I came from. On this site lay the great public office from which what is now Kyushu was administered in ancient times. Oh yeah, I did read that somewhere, that Dazaifu was kind of the original capital of the island of Kyushu. Ruins of Chikuzan Kokubunji Temple. These are the ruins of a temple built in the 8th century. Ruins of Mizuki. Mizuki was built in 664 AD to defend Dazaifu against a possible invasion from Tang, China, and or the Korean kingdom of Silla. Is that the one I went to yesterday? If it is, yeah, this picture of a field is appropriate, because that is all that's there. Site of Iwaya Fortress. A fortress that once stood on this site was the scene of a great battle in 1586 in which more than 700 warriors led by Shon Takahashi perished at the hands of an army sent by the Shimuzu clan of Satsuma, Kagoshima Prefecture. And yeah, roughly speaking, you can see everything from here. It's funny that I never made it to the Kyushu Regional Museum, the big one. But I can see it from here. Even from here, yeah, it's fucking gigantic. What the shit? There's all these like normal sized buildings and just this one that, boom, like it looks normal sized. And then the other buildings look like tiny miniatures. So the fact that it looks like a normal sized building from here means it must be goddamn big. Man, yeah, the haze is so odd. It really just looks like, I guess the same way yesterday I was saying how the mountains in the evening, like they look like they're painted backdrops from a school play or something. They just have an unreality to them. It's sort of similar, just the way this haze has settled over everything. Again, with my shallow cultural connections that I make in my brain, but yeah, it just looks like a Photoshop filter. It looks like you need to do auto contrast and it'll all bing, zip into clarity. It's like someone didn't set the white balance on their old school camera. Oh, some people actually showed up. Anyway, it's a good reason for me to stop yammering. I'm gonna move on from here. Well, this is a pretty easy area, extremely non-rugged, which is not a bad thing, because yeah, I'm definitely having a little bit of a time shaking my tiredness, unfortunately. There's only so much you can do to push past fatigue. So it's nice that this is very easy. So yeah, as I continued on from the castle ruins, the path led up to the road, which I was calling a highway, but I don't really know what the designations of streets are. I'm not a driver, so, because I assume highway, I don't know if it's a highway or not. Highways are probably busy, right? Like probably have traffic. I guess this is just more of a mountain road because there's very little traffic. I only really saw 1 or 2 cars the whole time. And it's not wide, just two little lanes. Ah, here's a little shrine. No particular offerings, just the little sake glasses, which may have sake in them, could just be water, but that nice austere offering, which I do kind of like. Just the nice little cups with liquid in them. And this is too, I'm in this like really old style little neighborhood in the woods. But the old and the new, this shrine has a QR code, which I can't scan because I don't have a data plan. I actually don't even know. I don't really know how QR codes work. I've never really done much with them. But I can translate the sign. 33 Stone Buddhas of Shioji Temple. Shioji Prefectural Forest Council. Google Maps is saying there's something deeper into the woods here, but I don't see the path, so I think I'll just go back, continue on to Ono Castle. But yeah, as I continued on the path and it got to the mountain road, but then you just had to cross over the road and keep going up the path, and it kind of did that. Like as the road snaked its way across the mountain, you didn't really need to walk on the road. You could just quickly cross the road to more path. And I met like a little family that were walking, and then I met a lady, and then I met a guy, and there was all kinds of paths all over the place, and I was just kind of randomly following them. And then I got to a big park, a big children's park, and it had just like old people hanging out, and I didn't see the parking lot, but the parking lot on Google Maps is near there. So clearly that's it, you know, that the parking lot is by there, accessible by the road. Basically this whole mountain is just kind of like a big park, you know? Very cash. There were all kinds of different signs for places to see different types of flowers at different times of year. So yeah, for an easy day, I certainly recommend this. Nice and simple. And then this was bound to happen eventually, but especially today because I ate even more food than I ate yesterday. I've just been gorging myself on best convenience system food. So they had a washroom, but it had a squat toilet. So it's like, oh, finally my fate has come. I finally have to use a squat toilet again. And really, again, yeah, it's just no big deal. It's like anything vaguely uncomfortable in life, like a long flight or getting your teeth cleaned at the dentist or something. It's probably not as bad as the worry makes it seem, you know? As you worry about it, you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. And then it's just not that bad. But I've only had to use squat toilets a handful of times in my life. It's fine as long as it's fine, you know? I got to imagine if you're a lifelong user of squat toilets, like if you have diarrhea or if you're constipated, I mean, you must have some war tales about squat toilets. But yeah, as long as you don't have to do the squatting part of the squat toilet for too long, not so bad. Although I say that, my bad knee, I do feel it. Shake it off, man, shake it off. Freaking squat toilets. And then for this second half, I'm sure there's a bunch of different paths and stuff that I could have taken that I didn't take. There's certainly probably better ways to get where I'm going. This is definitely the kind of place you could explore for a while if you lived nearby. Various little green spots on Google Maps with names I can't read. But I am just walking down the road now for this second bit onto Ono Castle. There's probably paths, but I don't know where they are. So just walking down the mountain road, but again, real slow, real no problem. Nobody around. This little town I'm just passing, which I just noticed from now that I'm passing and looking back, there's one really new house. The rest are all really old. That's weird. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 11 houses. So that's like a little strange. It's like, I wonder what the local community politics are of this one person who apparently has got some money to throw into making a cool ass house and everyone else just has their old house. There must be some neighborhood gossip around those parts. But they also had a little thing, it was weird from a distance. It's like a ladder set up by a power line, like a power pole, with 4 little scarecrow mannequins on it, you know, just like as though they're climbing up the ladder to do repairs. So from a distance, it's like, what is that? Those are far too small to be people. and they're not moving. Okay, they're not real. That's kind of neat, kind of a weird little neat thing. And I also saw there's like a very steep curve beyond this town, curving around the mountain. And the line in the middle of the street, I didn't notice this at first because there was fallen autumn leaves covering up some of these. But the biggest bumps I've ever seen on a road. Like in North America, they oftentimes put ridges on the edges of the highway. So if you drift off of the main lane, your car will start going, so you just can't miss that you're going off the road, you know? It's like, wake up, buddy, wake up, something's going wrong. You've drifted off the road. Are you falling asleep? What the fuck's happening? Wake up. But those are just like little ripples in the road, and they really make your car shake. These things were in the middle, in the center line, and they're like 2 inches high. They had like a sloped front. They weren't just square. But man, it seems like they'd make your fucking car flip over if you were going fast. Like, they're so huge. I mean, I guess maybe it's the same kind of height as a speed bump, but instead of a gradual lump like a speed bump is, these are just sudden 2-inch protuberances spaced out around the whole turn. And I guess it is just like, hey, fucking stay in your lane. You're on a sharp hairpin turn in the mountains. Don't fuck around. Don't go in a different lane. Stay where you are. Do this just right. Do this just exactly properly, or else boom, you're gonna fucking notice. And I wonder, I don't know that mountain racing a la Initial D is even really a thing. I don't know how much that truly exists in real life, but this would be the perfect place. Almost no traffic, tons of curves, mountain road. And yeah, those mega speed bumps, man, they would fuck your day up. They would make drifting around that corner impossible. I don't think even the Initial D fucking guy himself could figure out how to maneuver through that shit. Although I'm a non-driver, so what do I know? But they seemed very severe. I was like, holy crap, look at that. And yeah, now as I walk down this road, there are some little off-roads, and there was some steps going up into the woods. There's definitely other places to go. And actually, now that I look at it, this Ono Castle, the little dot for it is just kind of in the middle of nowhere on Google Maps. It's not really by the road at all. And there's no sign that the road connects off to it at all either. So I have no idea. I have no idea if this is going to take me anywhere. But worst case scenario, I'll just keep walking down this road till I get to Umi and Umi Station on the other end. I guess we'll see, and if I do miss Ono Castle, I'll look it up when I get home and see what that's all about. And there's another little roadside washroom here that has 3 different doors for stalls, and I was like, oh wait, maybe 4. And yep, all 4 are squat toilets. Because I was like, squat toilet, but sometimes like the final one is a Western toilet. And I was gonna be like, oh darn. But nope, 4 of them, and they're all squats. And there's not even urinals here. It's just like, not even really a trough. It's kind of a trough system, but it's just stone that just drains into the earth. So yeah, we're pretty fucking old school here. Yeah, and here's another path off into the woods. But all these paths that lead up into the mountains are going the wrong way. They're not the direction of Ono. But if I see one that goes in the Ono direction, I will try that. All right, as I walk down this mountain road, still a little loud, let you pass, fucking plane. All right, as I walk down this mountain road, I finally found a path to the right, which is where the Ono Castle Ruins were. It said Foundation Stones of Shujyobaru, Shujyobaru. So I headed up, stairs up through the mountain. Not too far. What's it say on this sign? I had to take a picture of the sign so I'd remember. 410 meters. And I got to the north wall remains, and it is, like usual, basically just some stones left in the ground. And there were a couple of sets of them. Again, equating just walking around Japan with video games, it really felt like a Korok puzzle in Breath of the Wild, like incredibly so. Like you got to look around and find the stone that's missing in the pattern and, place it down and solve the puzzle. And from here, there's a really nice mountain path. Like this thing is like really well maintained and level and beautiful, going back the way I came. So yeah, that slight awkwardness of having to walk down the mountain road for a bit, not that that was that bad, but obviously that's not optimal. But that's not necessary. There is a path. Oh, and there's some hikers. There's some older ladies hiking. Yeah, this place is pretty hopping. So I'm not sure where this originates. There's a map here, but of course I can't read it. If you've got some basic Japanese reading skills, you'll be far ahead of me, because some of the signs I can translate, but there's quite a few hand-painted ones. And every once in a blue moon, Google Translate can translate a hand-painted sign, but it's pretty rare. So this might have originated all the way back in that big children's park where I was. Or maybe that was the thing I saw in that little village with the scarecrows there was some kind of other path that I couldn't see. I really don't know. I feel like this might be a case where I would have to go backwards and see where it started to figure it out. Which I'm not going to do today. I'm going to keep moving forward, but it sure is nice where it's only a little after 2 o'clock. It's nice to be able to do stuff like that, to just explore a little ways back and try to piece things together and just not be at all worried about the sun going down. This is very nice. So then from up here, there's a sign to stone wall of Kitai Shigaki and Koshigaki. Kitai and Koi Shigaki, Shigaki. So that is where I'm heading. So it's possible that somewhere else along the path that I missed, maybe there's a more substantial part of the castle ruins, but I don't think so, probably not. That is one thing I've learned from my investigations of ancient sites, at least in this part of Japan, in Fukuoka. It's cool conceptually that this is where these things were. Yeah, here's another spot with the stones in the ground. But if you want to actually see actual stuff, that doesn't exist so much. And even I guess the ancient hut that was in Chiba by the midden pile, by the shell mound, was a recreation. I just don't think any of this stuff exists anymore. But it's certainly the walk itself that is the reward. Because even, finding this mountain path, I'm like, damn, this mountain path is nice. But I was also thinking to myself as I walked down the mountain road, and a couple of cars came, and those are the only moments where it's like, I gotta make sure I'm off to the side, and I'm clearly not supposed to be on this road. But then there was a sign leading me to the path. Like, they know it happens to people. You can walk on the road. It's not a big deal. But even that, I was just like, God, this is pretty beautiful though. Even though I sort of have not done the right route, it's still fucking gorgeous. This is still really nice. Even if I just walk down this mountain road all the way to the next developed part of the city, that would have been fine. But then I got splintered off onto another mountain path, and that's even better. Yeah, and here we go, another spot. Yeah, I can't exaggerate with how much this is a Korok puzzle from Breath of the Wild. I would bet large sums of money that the direct inspiration for those puzzles were these types of remains. Because it's a 4x4 of stones in the ground, big stones, big flat stones. And one of the corners is missing its stone. It's like, fuck, dude. If I put a stone down there, oh, and there's a stone over here that's in the wrong spot. Like, that's in the middle of 4 other ones. So if I picked up this stone and put it over there and I didn't get a Korok seed, there's no fucking way. It's not possible. That's just what this is. It's a real life Korok puzzle. And according to little Google Maps, I've got a ways to go before I get to Umi. I'm over halfway. Probably not quite 2/3 of the way. It'll probably go by a lot quicker than I think, but yeah, I still got a ways to go. This little mountain path, this could take a little while. But again, the wonder of actually having daylight. It's so nice for it to not be 4 o'clock right now, where I gotta get a little pep in my step just to make sure I get out of here before it gets dark. No worries today. Not only am I walking toward a subway station, I got like 3 more hours before it starts getting spooky up here. Well, 2 more hours before it starts getting spooky, 3 more hours before it starts getting very spooky. So the stone wall of Kitai Shigaki, 40 meters to one side, but I can't really go all the way there because it's roped off. Presumably because it's a scary cliff. So that's good enough for me. I'll take your word for it. I don't need to go tumble down any cliffs to see something that's probably not even there. And it's 250 meters to Koi Shigaki, so let's see how that looks. But yeah, a lot of this stuff is funny because the actual sites themselves are probably more appropriate to an archaeologist than a tourist. like unless you really knew the signs of what to look for an ancient piece of architecture, it kind of just appears that there is nothing here. Man, this is where I bet this is going to happen in the future. Someday they'll have an augmented reality version of all of these things. So you'll be able to pull it up on your glasses and see an AR version of what used to be here. And I'm not going to lie, that'd be pretty cool. But in the meantime, just plain old walking through nature, that's good enough. I'll take it. Man, I wish the cold weather, this morning it was downright chilly, and I wish it had stayed chilly. It would be so much better. One of those wisdoms of getting old. You know, I was thinking about that the other day, just with kids at the parks and stuff around here. Like when you're a kid, your sphere of awareness is so small, you know, it's just around you and your family and your school and maybe a little bit of your city, but you're just not really aware of the world. And then you get more aware. But you know, when you're like 19 or 20, you still have all kinds of really fucking stupid opinions about shit. And like, I know how to fix the world and blah, blah, blah. Because you're aware of the earth, but you're still not really aware of it. You're aware of it as a concept, but you don't really know that much. And then as you get older, your sphere of awareness reaches death. And it's just floating there. And you're like, yeah, I'm closer to that than I am to the start. And you just got to move on with that knowledge and just internalize it and get used to the idea that we're all walking fucking dead men. Anyway, the point of that is just to say one of the wisdoms of the aged is that warm weather or hot weather is not actually good. It's bad. It's a very bad thing. I'm sweating my dick off. This fucking sucks, dude. I wish it would just be cold. It's fucking December, Fukuoka. Be cold. What's wrong with you? You were cold this morning. Why'd you tease me like that? Sweating to death. But anyway, so to get to the Koi Shigaki, I hope I said that right because I erased the picture, stone wall, there was a path very distinctly down. And that's where I had to make a choice because there was a fork just before that where another path went back toward the mountain road that I was following to get to Umi, which is clearly basically where I wanted to go. But again, luckily I got time in the day. Sun is still way up in the sky, oppressively beaming down on me. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, I guess I'll just go down. Because like the idea is like, it was so far down and so steep that it wasn't like the other steep path I came up, but it still had the ropes and stuff. I had to put on the gloves and hold on to the ropes and be a little careful and down and down and down and down into this valley. So it's like, yeah, I really would prefer not to go back up there. I think I've made my choice. This is now my fate, whatever this is. And it seems like worst case scenario, there's another road, a potential actual highway this time, I don't know. But over on the side of this mountain, so if I ended up there, that's not the worst. And then I came down here, and there's all kinds of different various paths all over the place. It seems like you could walk this mountain a lot of times. But then I saw a sign that said Docomo Softbank. And I'm like, well, okay. I mean, I don't know exactly what that is, but I know it's like, I think a business of some kind. And then I got here, I'm at the sign, Docomo Softbank. I guess they're a phone company. Or maybe they're a bank company. I don't know. But this is about a phone, where it's a little symbol of a cell phone with the Wi-Fi signal coming out of it. And my Google Translate won't really work on this. It keeps giving me different random stuff. But basically, it does seem to be saying, cell phone service is available. And then in parentheses, not always available. So I'm like, all right, let me give it a shot. And I certainly don't get any Wi-Fi signal from here. So it's not currently working. But yeah, it seems Docomo Softbank, for some reason, in the middle of this mountain, is trying to offer you Wi-Fi. I guess it's a nice gesture. That's weird, though. I've certainly never seen that before. And because the Google Translate was just feeding me different random stuff, one of the things was instead of wireless may be available, it was saying a phone call with a monk may be available, and something about not always appropriate for temples. So there just must be something about the words for wireless internet that are similar to monks and temples, because it's definitely not what it said. But that really got my mind going of like, are they trying to say that from here you might be able to get in touch with a monk, but not always? And then I was thinking, like, what could that possibly be for? Like, the first thing that came to mind was like a suicide prevention hotline. Like maybe there's a big cliffside here that people jump off, and SoftBank was like, hey, call up a monk, talk to a monk. Talk to him before you make any choices. But I'm almost sure that's not what it says. I think it's just trying to offer you wireless internet. Weird either way, though. And a pretty undeniable choice. When you see a fork, this one was like a triple prong of different ways to go. The one that says Docomo Softbank for no fucking reason in the middle of the woods is the one you gotta pick. But I just don't know about this. I really seem to be going backwards now. Oh yeah, and there's the little green dots. Green dots on my Google map leading back. Well, dang it. I think I may have spoken too soon. I think maybe I am going back and heading back up that hill. I never did find the remains of that particular wall. Yep, this path just goes on and on and on the wrong way. Oh, wait though. Okay, so there is, again, the little green dots on Google Maps. Okay, good, because I really don't want to go back. So it does seem like there's little green dots that do send me to the eastern side of the mountain, to Route 68. 35 turns into 68. And yeah, that seems close enough. It's still in Umi. It's a little far from Umi Station, but again, at that point, who cares? Like, once I'm in civilization, the nighttime no longer matters. And it's not far from Supercenter Trial Umi. So, you know, some kind of mall or something. So yeah, it seems like this is fine. Either exit is pretty much right into civilization. So all right, let's try to find that. Because yeah, it's just much nicer to forge ahead rather than to have to double back, particularly when doubling back means going straight the fuck up. It was like a really steep area. Cool, and yes, here are the crossroads. There's like a really detailed map at most of these crossroads too, like a laminated map of this whole area. So yeah, this place is pretty rad. You could walk around here for ages. And yeah, that it's so accessible, that I keep seeing people. That's very unusual. A lot of these walks, I don't see anybody. But today, not only am I seeing people, like those last two people I saw were just two old ladies. And they're just having no problem just trekking along. So yeah, this whole place, pretty good. The best part is definitely the initial view from the Ono Castle Ruins. Though I guess if you came in from this side, or even from the center, maybe that would be the final view. That would be the end of the journey instead of the start, like it was for me. But yeah, that part was the money melon. That was the best. But all the rest of this has been pretty dang nice. And yeah, definitely extremely accessible. Lots of hikers around here. You know, I just don't do hard hikes. I do very easy hikes that are very close to civilization. But yeah, if I usually do a level 2 or a level 3, this is for sure a level 1. 'Tis no problem. I could recommend this to anybody. You know, you could do this if you were fucking 11 years old. Parental supervision required. Oh, even better. Now that I've moved a little ways, so my blue dot actually is moving. I'm not on the path I thought I was on. I don't know how I do that so often. It's ridiculous. But instead, I'm on another little green path that does in fact just go back to the mountain road where I started. Just below Ono Castle. And then from there, I don't know, maybe I will have to just walk down the road the rest of the way. But that was the original plan in the first place, so no problem. And so far, I should really just put my trust in the trail system of Japan. So far, I haven't really. Anytime I've been walking down a street, there pretty much was always another way to go that did not require that. So this might not be any different. Maybe these paths, even if I don't see a little green dot on Google, maybe these paths will just keep on a-rolling all the way down the hill. So I got to another Docomo SoftBank sign, and it's like, hey, wireless internet here. And I tried it just out of curiosity, and it didn't work. And a bit later on, I found another sign that was like, hey, 100 meters this way, there's like 3 more possible areas. And it's like, dude, fuck off, SoftBank. What is this shit? It's weird that there's so many SoftBank wireless signs. I guess it'd be one thing if it worked. But I don't even care if it works or not. It just feels like a sneaky way to get advertising into the park. When it was just one random sign, it was like funny and weird. When it's multiple signs that are advertising even more signs, it's like, get the fuck out of here, man. What the fuck? Who needs Wi-Fi anyway? Why do you think this is important? Oh, we're so helpful. We're Docomo SoftBank. Here's your Wi-Fi. No one asked. No one asked, bitch. No one wants your fucking Wi-Fi. Get the fuck out of here. I have no Wi-Fi for like 10 hours at a stretch every day. I don't care. No one needs that shit. Fuck off. Fuck off. That is one interesting thing, though, about being in Japan. How it's a literal 12-hour difference from my hometown. It's very much upside down. So kind of nothing happens for me during the day on the internet. I guess if you're watching Japanese YouTubers and Japanese social media and stuff, it would be different. But yeah, for me, it's weird. It's just like a ghost land. Nobody posts on YouTube. Nothing's happening. Then when I wake up in the morning, it's like, oh, frig. Every podcast updated and everything happened. And it's like, whoa. Whoa. But yeah, I got to a fork in the road that had one of the laminated maps of the whole area. And I was like, here, let's just really try to figure this out. Let's pull out the old translator and just see if I can determine anything. And what I could determine, the 2 routes, there was one leading to some kind of temple with a Buddha statue, and the other one was a waterfall. So I went with the waterfall, because I'll get into it in a bit, but I kind of went on a bit of a rant about Buddha statues. That, you know, it's one of those things afterward I realized, like, wow, I'm just cranky today. I am just a tired little boy. I didn't sleep enough. But I'll get into it after. But yeah, this happened to me in Chiba also. this is just not the place for my extended thoughts about the nature of religion. It's just not. It's not what this podcast is. And in fact, there's kind of no place for it. It just doesn't matter. Who cares? No one cares. So the raw, cranky rant I'm leaving on the cutting room floor, but I'll tell you, I'll give you the gist of it in a moment. But yeah, trying to find the waterfall and my classic inability to figure out where anything is, I did find like a paved path, an upgraded path with somebody jogging on it. And I went in the direction I thought the waterfall was. I was following some water up, so that seemed logical, following it upstream. And then I got back to the intersection where I saw the first soft bank sign, where I came down the incredibly steep steps, where I chose my fate, where it's like, okay, I'm going this way now. I'm like, dang it, I just went in a circle. Whoops, I'm back where I was. But then I turned back around down the paved path, and I came to the main entrance to this park and to this mountain road that I'm on right now. But now at this point, it must be 4 o'clock by now. Not quite. 3:53. But yeah, I still got a ways to go down this mountain road, but I'm just taking the road now. I'm just going to take the road to escape well before it gets dark, because I tried to find an alternate route, and it was a very nice little side hike, but it didn't work. Because just across the street and uphill just a little bit, there was a path. So I thought, oh, maybe this is another of those cases where the walking path just kind of cuts across the road. Oh yeah, I did, by the way, you can hear the rushing water. I did find the waterfall on my way out of the park. It's not a big waterfall, just a little one, but it was nice. There probably is a bigger one that was like right next to it somehow that I didn't see, but I'm pretty sure that was the right one. But yeah, there was this other path that I'm like, all right, let's try that. Although it did go up, very, very steeply up. These little teeny steps built into the side of the mountain. And I was like, oh, geez, okay. Well, trust in the path system. Let's just do it. Let's just go up. So I went up. Oh, yeah, and there was a big sign for, again, the Ono Castle Ruins, which I am unsure if I found or not. So I thought, oh, this isn't the spot listed on Google Maps, but maybe this is it. So I went way up, real steep, but a nice mountain path, and then at the top was another of these stone walls. But this one had a bigger explanatory plaque, and it said it's one of 9 stone walls. So I nearly found 2 of them and did find another one. So I found 2, and I was near 2, if not actually at them. So I saw about half of them. But I think it seems that Ono Castle, I think, must refer to this whole area, and then the 9 castle walls are the Easter egg hunt. Got to catch them all. But I don't know that there is a specific castle ruin, quote unquote. Though this is another case where it's kind of fun sometimes to hop on YouTube after and just make sure. See if anyone else came here and did this. Maybe nobody did. I don't know. This seems pretty obscure, but it's always hard to tell. And yeah, that's how I found out that I made a mistake at the Congo Falls, but then how I found out that at Daizafu, I was like, no, I think I did pretty well on that one. It's kind of fun to go in blind and just see what I can determine, and then just kind of to sweep it up later. And if there is something severe that I missed, I can just make a note to come back someday. So yeah, from up there, from those particular castle wall ruins, I kept following the path, and I was hoping it would just take me kind of through the mountains down to the city. And it appeared to be doing that at first. The path was going around, and it was well maintained, and lots of signs that even if I couldn't necessarily read them, they have the arrows and they're very clear of where to go. And then it got to the point where it started going back up. And I was like, darn it. I don't want to go back up. I want to go down. And it appeared that you could keep going down. It was very gentle. So just out of curiosity, I went a little ways, but it's just so very obvious when you're not going the right way. Because even though that particular part was very light, it wasn't trodden at all. There was no kind of footpath. There was a really old sign that was just like nothing on it anymore, just like the skeleton of a sign that obviously hadn't been anything for a long fucking time. A big spider web. And yeah, even though it looked gentle at that point, when I peered down through the trees, it's still a long way down, a long fucking way to the city. So, I mean, if I kept going down that way, unless I had literal mountain climbing gear to rappel down, it's not going to happen. I'm just going to go till a fucking rock slide happens and I fall to my death. Like, it's just, I only went like 5 meters, and it's like, I mean, it's just so obvious that this is not right. Whereas the other way, despite going up, was signposted, had steps, had pink ribbons on the trees. Like, it's just blazingly clear. This is the way, go this way. So I went back up, and it basically just looped me around back to where I started. So I walked up around a peak. It was a nice walk, and again, because I gave myself a lot of free time today, it's like, well, cool, all right, that was a little thing. But yeah, now at this point, I think I just can't, I can't trust that there are any more paths through the woods to get me off this mountain. There might be, but I sure don't see them. So just walking down the road, not the best, again, it's a very quiet road. So it's just a little 2-lane road. There's definitely not quite enough room for me to be here. There's no walking area, but there's not that many cars. They all see me well before they get to me. Not the best, but I just got to get out of here at this point. No more lollygagging, no more walking around in circles. Time to just get the fuck out of here. Speaking of, let me just check to make sure my blue dot is still going. Boop. Yeah, I mean, I'm walking downhill. I don't know how I could possibly be going the wrong way, but just in case. And nope, I'm going the right way. Heading down toward a Joyful, which I think is a family restaurant, and Home Plaza Nafco, and a gas station. Wow, still looks like a ways, but straight on till morning. I don't know how else to get off of this mountain. So yeah, what I wanted to say about the Buddha statues, because yeah, that fork in the road, I felt it very distinctly when faced with those precise choices, a waterfall or a temple. It's not even close. It's 100% I want to go to the waterfall and 0% I want to go to the temple. So yeah, I had a cranky rant about like, what's with all these Buddhas? I don't like religion. But I think it's kind of interesting to bring up in a less childish way because I think it's like a legitimate phenomenon that's interesting to bring up. Is I'm really not a religiously minded person. Like, I mean, this is gonna be offensive, but this is really how I see it. So, I mean, if you're religious, I don't know, take this as an opportunity to try to peer into the mind of the atheist. It feels like the biggest game of telephone in the world, or purple monkey dishwasher, you might call it. The game where you whisper a phrase into someone's ear and they whisper it into the next person's ear and the next person's ear. And then you see after 8 or 9 people what comes out the other side. Like, is it possible to spread the message through that many people without it getting corrupted? And it's like funny. It's like the thing that comes out the other side is purple monkey dishwasher. It's some weird thing. That's just kind of how my brain thinks of religion. It's like, and this is what I presume about religious people. I could be wrong, but this is how I see you, in case you're curious. Is like, if there's these stories that stretch back thousands and thousands of years, and millions and billions of people have passed along this story and they all believe it, then surely it can't be a lie, right? Surely that many people couldn't believe it and it couldn't endure this long if it wasn't true. That's how I presume religious people think of things. Where my brain just isn't wired that way. The way I think of it, I mean, maybe it's just like a dangerous level of narcissism or something, I don't know. But the way I think of it is, oh, what is this? Shimanto no Kaze, enjoy pottery. apparently I'm passing by a small pottery studio. That's interesting. Maybe you can use that to orient yourself as to where I am. I don't know if this is on Google Maps. It's a very, very small little building. But yeah, I guess if you're into pottery, wow, that's a thing. But yeah, the way my brain works is I think like, okay, so you get these stories that have endured for thousands of years, that millions and millions and billions of people have passed along. Could it be that all those people are wrong? And the way my brain works is yes. Yeah, for sure. For sure they could. To me, it's just an endless game of telephone. It's just been passed on and passed on and passed on. And I find it very easy to believe that every single one of those people was wrong. So I mean, it's just the two different types of people. We'll never understand each other. You know, I know that it's like wildly fucking arrogant of me to think that I know better than so many people. But to me, it's like weirdly naive to just believe what other people say, no matter how many of them say it. You know, it's just two different points of view. That's all. That's all. And believe it or not, that's my non-offensive way of saying it. My previous rant, where, again, I ran out of coffee too. I had 2 bottles of coffee. I had a whole liter of coffee and 500 milliliters of water. And I'm like almost out of the water even, but I'm all out of coffee too. So I was definitely feeling those pangs. And I was like, Buddha, who is this fat cunt? Why does anyone care about this guy? So just imagine that. But I just couldn't shut up about it. Fucking dumb and annoying and needlessly offensive. But I do think it's an interesting thing. That's why I bring it up again. Why I want to do take 2 of that thought. Is again like a little view into the atheist mind. Oh shit, a drink machine. This is like a super rough, almost junkyard looking area. A lot of like backhoes and there's a steamroller, that kind of equipment. And a drink machine. So yeah, there's the end of my water. Let's get rid of that bottle. Get rid of coffee bottle number 1. This was a Sangaria Maro Uma Cafe au lait, because there's a machine near my place that sells this big 500 milliliter bottle of coffee for 120 yen. It's a really good deal. I've been keeping one in the fridge, so in the morning I can just have a little coffee. It's kind of neat too, the microwave at my place. I had to do Google Translate, but I don't even know how to put in the time. There must be a way, but it's got a bunch of presets. And one of them is for warming up milk. So I just use that for coffee. It's number 3. Just press number 3, let it go. It does its thing. This is another Coke machine, and I'm a little tempted. I'm always a little tempted to get a can of Coke, but I never do. I don't actually really like cola. It's kind of my least favorite kind of pop. But I think I just don't want that many liquids anyway. I wonder, because like Georgia coffee is not that good. It's not really my favorite. And they got one that's golden drip for 110 yen. But here's me getting worked in real time. There's one over here, it's still Georgia, but it's called Tasty Quality Coffee. And it's 140 yen. So hey, what's 30 extra yen? There's the one that I know for sure isn't that good. And who knows, maybe this one's okay. Probably not, but let's give it a shot. It does say Tasty Quality Coffee. They can't lie about that, right? Where the fuck was I? This is really hot. I'm gonna let this cool down a little. It's gotten a little nicer out. It's nice and windy. Now that the sun's going down, I'm still in a t-shirt, but yeah, I bet it's gonna be ice cold soon. It's all or nothing around Fukuoka. Yeah, okay, that's what I was saying. I think this is maybe a slightly interesting view into the mind of the atheist. I'm not a religious guy. I grew up Catholic. We had to do a confirmation in 9th grade where you confirm that you're going to be Catholic. It's a whole little ceremony. Everybody does it and then never comes back. You know, I don't really know anybody that still goes to church. Church, I think, is in a bad state in North America at this point. And there's like a whole wave of generations that don't care. That girl Anna from Colombia, when I was talking to her, she grew up Catholic as well. And we were saying how interesting it was, because she's in her 20s, I'm in my 40s, that in both our cases, we had, grandparents that were real into this type of stuff. I mean, my mom has 12 brothers and sisters. If that's not fucking Catholic, I don't know what is. My grandmother's name was Molly, for God's sake. It's the most Catholic family that could ever be. And then my mom, it's always a little hard to pinpoint. At this point, I don't think she's very religious, but she certainly made us go to church as kids. And I don't know how much of that was just because, that's what she had to do, so just keep it going. All of her friends were through church. So, I think it could even just be that. It might be as simple as it was awkward if her kids didn't go to church, so she made us go to church. But yeah, I knew all of the stand up here, kneel here, say this when, I knew all the rituals of Catholic Church. But when it came time to do this confirmation thing, I was like, absolutely not. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not going to do that. And I was the only person in my confirmation class who didn't do it. Whereas everybody else did it and just never came back to church. I don't know that anybody in my year really stuck with the church. But they were cowards. They just pretended to make their parents happy. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm not fucking doing that. Are you fucking kidding? I was into religion a bit when I was younger. I remember up to 3rd or 4th grade, there were these Jesus comic books and stuff that I would read, and I'd be able to parrot back all the parables and crap, and my Sunday school teacher was like, oh, you're my best little student, Keith. But as soon as I was old enough to have a thought in my head, a proper thought, I was like, no, of course this is nonsense. This doesn't make any sense. As I said earlier, just different types of people. I'm just not that type of person. My brain's just not wired that way. It's never going to be. But I still know all the stuff. I know all the rituals. Where Anna was saying yeah, I don't even know that, My grandmother knows all that stuff, and then her parents were basically of my generation. She's the next generation down in the Catholic chain, and she's like, yeah, no, I didn't get confirmed, and I don't even know the stuff. I barely ever even went to church. So yeah, it's just slipping away more and more and more. But yeah, I basically feel that same way about just religion, capital R religion. Doesn't matter which one, doesn't matter what they believe, doesn't matter what it's about. It's not going to ever work for me. My brain is not wired that way. But if it's a place that has a very in-your-face religion, obviously that's going to rub me the wrong way immediately, from moment one. So I think this is interesting because Japan is so, they take such a light touch with religion. They're not really known as a strongly religious country. And one of the little anecdotes I heard is that something like 80% of people consider themselves Shinto, but about 80% of people also consider themselves Buddhist. Because again, they're just kind of religious on paper, It's just yeah, I recognize that these are the religions of my nation, and on paper, I follow them a little bit, but it's so casual that they just say that they're both. It's yeah, I don't know, I guess I'm both, whatever, It's not a big, heavy, serious thing like it would be in North America. You couldn't say you're two religions. What? Pick a side. Get in a fight about it. Battle. So I like that Japan is not that way. They're very casual about it. But still, after a while, I've been here 7, almost 8 weeks, I think. So that's why I think this is a little bit interesting, that my natural skepticism, my natural atheism, it finally kicked in. It just took a while. For a while I was like, hey, cool, little Buddha statues everywhere and temples. This is neat. I don't really get it, but it's kind of cool. And today it's I felt a little dam break in my brain when I saw those two paths in the woods, where I thought I actively don't want to go down the path to the Buddhist temple. That's enough with the Buddhist temples. There's so many Buddhist temples. I would like to go on the walk for the sake of the walk. I'd like to go on the adventure for the sake of the adventure. But it's disappointing that at the end it's just another Buddha statue. Because thank God Japan is not in your face about it, and they're not heavy-handed about religion. But at the end of the day, it's still a weird idol to some guy from the past who, in my mind, in my horrible, cruel atheist mind, just some guy, if he even was a guy. No actual mystical relevance whatsoever. Just a historical figure who has had the purple monkey dishwasher treatment to the point that any actual reality about his life isn't even available to us anymore. It's just stories. It's just like, what is this? And now that little dam has broken in my mind, I mean, I won't bring it up every time. This will be the one time I'll save you the fucking tiresome atheist ramblings. But I'm always gonna think that now. Every time I see a Buddha statue, of which there are many, of which I see 30 a day minimum, I'm just always going to think that in the back of my head now. Like, why are there statues of this guy? Who the heck is this guy? Imagine if these were all statues of Jesus. It would be so goddamn creepy. And yeah, so I'm not going to belabor the point. It's just obvious I don't understand. I can't understand. I will not ever be able to understand. But it's hit that point now. Like, it took a while for me to realize. It took a while for me to figure out my own thoughts, for my thoughts to align and become clear. But I definitely find it creepy. I do not like all these statues of some guy who purported to be a religious icon. That's not cool. That's creepy. That's everything that I don't like I don't know. I mean, there's just no way to explain it without being offensive to half the world. I don't know, tune in 1,000 years. Why are you doing this at all? Who is this guy? Why are there all these statues of this guy? It's eerie. So, at least with Shinto, it's just the spirits of everything, the spirit of the mountain, the spirits of the rice, the spirits of the trees, I can get into that more because to me, it's the waterfall, just the nature, just the place. That's it. That's all the religious observance you need, is that nature is awesome. And it's like, man, yeah. So I turned that little corner in my brain today now where it's like, that it's just like a little bit of a downer to go through the beautiful nature, and instead of it just being a nature quest for its own sake, it's a quest to a Buddha statue. Buddha? Who is this guy? What is this? What's going on here? So there we go. That's enough. I won't belabor it. But yeah, it took a little while for my normal annoying atheism to kick back in, but it did. Just took a few weeks. So anyway, I don't know if you find that interesting or not. And if you found that offensive, you should have heard the other version. Ooh. It was more just blasphemy for blasphemy's sake, like a comedy routine. Mildly funny, but yeah, no, there's no need for that. This is not the place. That's not what this podcast is about. All right, I think I'm back in civilization now. There's construction going on, and there's an overpass in the distance, and there's construction workers, so I think we've done it. It's starting to get a little dark out. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting jaunt across the mountain. But the best part is that first part, the part I talked about last episode. Even if you just go do that part, and you do bail out and that's it, I would recommend it. That's plenty good. And then if you got time to kill and you want to just mosey around, that was a very low impact mountain hike. Very easy. Even though I was just wandering around, never quite knowing what I'm doing, I just couldn't get lost. It wasn't possible. And if I did get lost, there was Docomo SoftBank there to save me. God bless you, Docomo SoftBank. We should make statues to you, you blessed company, giving Wi-Fi to the people. And all for the low, low cost of plastering your stupid company name all over the fucking park. Okay, yeah, let's try out this tasty coffee, by the way. We'll end off with that. Yeah, there's a taste to Georgia coffee that is a little weird, that I don't love. But actually, yeah, this is distinctly better than the 110 yen one. And even if it's not, even if that's purely the placebo effect, I have nothing against the placebo effect. I'll take it. 30 yen is a small price to pay for me to at least believe that this tastes better. All right, thank you once again for listening. I will see you next episode. May God and the Buddha bless you all. Adios. Test, 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 test. Hey, it's Editing Keith here. It's 2:30 in the morning, and I was like, yeah, I've done the podcast. I can go to bed now. But I remember this day where it's a pretty rare event that I kind of go off the rails on these podcasts. The only time's really 2 times. So there was when I was in Chiba at the Kasori Shell Mound, where I just started ranting about societal conformity or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Pretty much right afterward, I was like, I don't feel great about that particular rant. I'm just tired, cranky, and hungry. That's what it always comes down to. But I knew but I can edit around that. That's pretty easy. And I did. I just chopped out, I left the rough ideas in, the little story about the guy who founded Sony. I left in the interesting parts, and I just took out the tiresome parts. So that happened again in this episode, hiking across this mountain in Fukuoka, where I went on a big rant about the Buddha. And similar thing. Right after, I was like, I don't feel good about that. What was that all about? So I just re-recorded, and I just, did the episode that you just heard. But now that I'm sitting down to edit it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that day. I wonder if I still have that audio. Did I delete it, or did I keep it in the files? And I did keep it. I do still have that audio. So, since you're still here at the end of this very long podcast, this deep into this podcast series, I don't know, you want to hear it? It's not that bad, I don't think. I think it's kind of funny, but it is just like, here's what I was like when I was 16. Just an annoying guy, like, religion, And again, it's just because I was tired and cranky, that's all. The version that I did in the podcast proper is definitely better. But sometimes, that's all you got to do is just get it out of your system. And literally right after, I just recorded again, and it was a whole different tone and a whole different vibe. But the other thing that's funny about this is because I knew I couldn't edit around this one, I was like, I don't even know what I just said. What the hell was that? So rather than give my editing self the work of trying to piece together, oh, you could use this part, but not that part, I just started over. And just so the story about the SoftBank signs and the waterfall, I'm going to say those again now. I literally said them twice. Again, that's never happened any other time in this podcast, and not in any of the upcoming episodes either. This is just a weird thing where I got off on such a rant that I was like, just rewind that and just say it all again like a reasonable person. But if you want to hear the unreasonable version, here you go. But if you are sensitive and religious, and any religion, not Buddhism, any religion, don't fucking listen to this, because I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. So there's your warning. All right, here's the outtake. Thanks for listening. All right, here's a sort of funny, weird little turnaround that just happened. First off, there was more SoftBank signs. There was another one, so just out of curiosity, I tried it. It's like, yeah, it didn't work. And then I got to another sign that was like, hey, 100 meters this way, there's up to 3 different potential SoftBank Wi-Fi things. And it's like, who fucking gives a shit, SoftBank? Fuck off. Who the fuck needs Wi-Fi in the park? Get out of here. Why are there SoftBank signs everywhere? It's like sneaky advertising. It's like you found a way to sneak SoftBank ads into the fucking park. Get the fuck out of here. I don't have Wi-Fi for 10 hours straight while I walk around the city. I don't give a fuck. It is not needed. Though that's one thing that is kind of interesting too about being in Japan, because it's upside down. It's literally 12 hours from my hometown. And you can really feel it with, like YouTube, for example. Maybe it wouldn't feel this way if you're watching Japanese YouTubers. But for me, it's a little strange that the whole day goes by and nothing happens online, no one uploads to YouTube. Social media I'm not super involved in, but there's still, what little is ever there is not there at all. Then when I wake up in the morning, it's like biggity bam, all the podcasts updated and all the YouTubers uploaded and all my friends posted whatever they're going to post. And it's like, oh, fuck, get the big flood. But I also got to this sign that's like, okay, this way or that way. And it had the laminated overall major map. And I'm like, all right, let me try to translate what I can off this and figure out what was going on. So from where I was, one path led to some kind of Buddha statue. And I think just because I woke up so early, I'm extra cranky today. I'm just, it's a bit of a struggle for me to just be a level-headed person, a kind, nice person. It really doesn't necessarily come naturally. And when I'm tired, it's just, I'll just tell you the unfiltered thoughts that hit me in the head. Because there's just so many Buddhist temples everywhere. And my thought was just like, who the fuck cares about this fat cunt? What the fuck is this? Like, why are there so fucking many? They're fucking everywhere. And Japan, it's so strange. I mean, it's such a strange duality that they're very much known as just not being a religious country, The statistic I heard is that it's like 80% of people identify as Shinto and about 80% also identify as Buddhist. Like there's an overlap because they're just kind of both. Because they're only saying that just as a sort of, just whatever, it's just how it is. It's just what we do around here. But they're not really into it. They're not really dedicated to a religion. Like in North America, I don't think you can be Christian and Jewish. I don't know, maybe you can, but it's certainly not common. Where here it is very common, because either you just don't care, or you consider yourself one or the other, or both on paper, but you still kind of don't care, Or apparently, there's a little ritual you're supposed to do at Shinto shrines of bowing and clapping twice. But you're not supposed to do that at the Buddhist temples. You're supposed to be quiet at the Buddhist temples. But I was reading that apparently there's a fair number of Japanese people that do the clapping at the Buddhist temples because they don't really know either. I'm eternally confused about all this stuff. I never know what's going on at all. But apparently a lot of locals also. It's all just kind of a vague jumble. Here's a nice little path with some nice water. But yeah, just being tired. Just seeing yet another. It's like, I want to go on the nice walk. I want to go on the hike. But I almost wish there wasn't another goddamn temple at the end. Why are there so many? It's weird. There's too many. And just to be perfectly frank, I hate religion. I'm not a religion guy. At least Shintoism, as I understand it, is just about the spirit of everything. It's a stand-in for an appreciation of the natural world. But Buddhism isn't. Buddha was a guy. And every one of these guys, be they Jesus Christ, Buddha, Allah, Joseph fucking Smith, L. Ron Hubbard, they're all just shysters of the past. They're all just fucking weird, possibly deluded grifters. And some of them managed to pull the wool over enough people's eyes well enough that they're just remembered forever. Fuck all of them. Fuck every religious symbol or person ever. Fuck them. Fuck the Buddha. What the fuck are all these statues of the Buddha for? Fuck off. I'm officially tired of it. I say as I walk down here and here's a whole bunch more fucking Buddha statues. And I mean, I know it doesn't mean that in Japan. They're not trying to push it on anybody. It seems that very few people actually give a shit about the Buddha or believe that he's anything. It's just something to do, I guess. It's like an excuse to make shrines everywhere. But I don't know. Diversify a little. It's too much with the Buddha. It's getting fucking weird. This is no doubt my most offensive thing I've ever said. But when I'm tired and cranky, that's how I really feel. In case anybody gives a fuck. Fuck Buddha. Get the hell out of here, you fat cunt. Anyway, the the other path said waterfall. And it was a little out of the way, so I'm like, I might not be able to find that, but now a waterfall, that's what I care about, that's what I like. And as you can hear, actually, as I was ranting to myself, I accidentally found it. It's very small, but it's kind of nice. Because, yeah, I turned around looking for the waterfall and accidentally went back to when I first came down the really steep steps and chose my fate. I'm like, oh fuck, I just went in a circle. I'm exactly back where I started. Dang it. But inadvertently, even through that, I found a nice paved path. This should get me out of the park nice and easily. And then just as I was walking, talking to myself, here it is, I found it. I found the waterfall. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I'm trying to say about the Buddha stuff, is that the natural world is fine, dude. It's plenty on its own. It's enough. You don't need to have a goddamn Buddha statue every fucking place that you go. Just come see nature. Just come see the world. It's fine. It's pretty good on its own. Ugh, religion, man. Religious iconography. I don't like it at all. You know, I guess just the novelty of it is kind of neat initially. But I've just been really trying my hardest to just be a level-headed, nice, people won't like me if I say these things. People won't like my podcast. No one's gonna like my fucking podcast anyway. Fuck. There's just so fucking many. It's out of control. It's too many. Whew, there. So if that offended the hell out of you, sorry. It's nice to have you here. I'll miss you. But yeah, man. Going on an adventure is the adventure. It's almost disappointing to get to the end and it's just another fucking Buddha. Who the fuck was Buddha? What do you think he fucking did? Why do you think he's important? He was no one. He's just some fucking guy. Who gives a shit? Fuck. Oh, and here we go. A road. Which road is this? And yeah, if it sounds like I'm picking on the Buddha a lot, yeah, I don't care if you're Christian, I don't care if you're Catholic, I don't care if you're Jewish, I don't care what you fucking are. It's all fucking stupid. Cut it the fuck out, dickhead. Fucking stop it. The world has moved beyond the need for this type of shit. Well, here's a great big sign, so maybe this is kind of the entrance. So I'm on a road. It's tricky though, it goes up and down. And it appears the direction I would want to go is the up direction. But I definitely don't want to go up. But, again, probably if I'm walking on a road, I'm doing something wrong. So there's a little something up here of some kind. Maybe it's a path. Ah, I see an arrow. I think I see a path. Nice, so I had to walk uphill a little to get on the next path. But yeah, I think that's a good rule of thumb for Japan. If you're walking on a road, you know, maybe the best thing to do is just to keep walking until you figure out what's going on. But probably at some point, there was a better on-foot route that got missed. Sweet. Walking path. All right, another little waterfall, very beautiful. Woo, dang, these steps go way up. And here is a sign for Ono Castle Ruins with a bunch of historical data. Interesting, so maybe the castle ruins listed on Google Maps are not actually where the main site is. It would appear that it's this. I don't know. I guess I'm going to go up these incredibly steep stairs. Little tiny steep stairs into the mountain and see what I see. This will be good to going uphill. Work some of the crank out of my system. I find going up something strenuous is good to do when you're tired because it just shakes that all away. Your body has to wake up and get you up the incline. And you don't have time to let your cranky brain roll around all these annoying, tiresome opinions. All right, I'm gonna go now and walk up these steps.